Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
The City of Edmonton is increasing security at LRT stations.
I think police presence would be a good thing instead of just security.
The Edmonton Food Bank kicks off this holiday season with a festive campaign.
We have many special events where people can come out, get into the holiday season, and make a non-perishable donation or monetary donation.
And NAIT cuts the ribbon on the Productivity and Innovation Center.
So when we think about sort of the purpose of the Productivity and Innovation Center, it is about working and elevating industry and really deepening the partnership that we have with industry.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good evening. The next time you ride the LRT or take the bus, you may see security officers patrolling the stations.
It's a part of the new plan the city is rolling out to ensure people's safety when taking public transportation. Ryan Cavani joins us from the South Lobby with more on that story.
Thanks, ladies. The first guards started work this Monday, patrolling around LRT stations all across the city in hopes of making riders feel safer when they use Edmonton's public transit system. Security guards are now working round the clock at Belvedere Station. It's one of 25 stations and bus depots that will be patrolled regularly. All the stations receiving guards have had a serious incident occur over the past 5 years. Safety concerns were heightened earlier this year when police released video of 2 attacks that happened at LRT stations. This swarming attack at the Century Park station led to hundreds of charges being laid against dozens of teenagers. Another attack occurred at Belvedere Station, where a woman was violently kicked down a flight of stairs and suffered serious injuries. Rowan Anderson, a city transit communications official, told NewsWatch, "We looked at analytics for where and when these events occurred, and that told us that we needed more security. These guards will be an important part in a larger system to keep riders safe." The city also says the main function of the guards will be to report crimes to the Edmonton Police Service as well as transit peace officers. Riders we spoke to had mixed feelings about having guards at stations.
More peace of mind, especially after the last few years where there's been more rates of crime and happening at the stations.
Doesn't seem to be much of a difference. Last year, the Edmonton Police had undercover cops on the trains for 6 months out of the year, and people were still being attacked.
The call buttons are a good idea, but I think additional security is definitely something that's in the best interest for the public.
I think police presence would be a good thing instead of just security.
More than 100 guards will be phased in over the next 2 weeks, with each guard working a 12-hour shift before being relieved by a coworker. The city believes this will give the guards a familiarity with the station and the riders. Now, the city says that crime hasn't increased dramatically at LRT stations over the past few years, but the events earlier this year, coupled with community feedback, meant that a change in policy was bound to happen.
Now, Ryan, will the NAIT LRT station be receiving any extra security? The NAIT LRT station will not be receiving extra security. The reason for that being that the NAIT LRT station hasn't seen a serious incident in the past 5 years. For NAIT, it will be transit peace officers and business as usual.
Ryan, how will the guards respond to problems at the stations?
The guards aren't armed in any sort of way, but they will be responding to problems at the stations by either calling Edmonton Police through call buttons, communicating with the Edmonton Transit Services control room, or talking to transit peace officers directly, who will help them intervene in any serious situations that happen to occur. Thanks, Ryan. That's Ryan Cavani reporting from the South Lobby.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch, the next generation of news.
Alberta Health Services is warning Edmontonians of an outbreak of gastrointestinal illnesses. The illness has already started to affect some students here at NAIT. There have already been 47 reports of the stomach flu within the city. At this time last year, the number of reports was 18. Here at NAIT, Health Services says it's had a few students just last week who came in with symptoms of the stomach flu.
It could be something like norovirus. So norovirus you can get from contaminated food product. You can actually get it from somebody else.
Some of the symptoms of the stomach flu can include nausea, vomiting, and dehydration. Bannerman says if you experience these symptoms longer than 72 hours, you should see a doctor.
On Wednesday, NAIT officially had the grand opening for their Productivity and Innovation Center.
The new PIC building is meant to help companies that use the facilities become more competitive, productive, and innovative. Our Peter Go has more on the event.
Thanks. I'm standing inside NAIT's newest building, the Productivity and Innovation Center. The building itself is state-of-the-art and one of the largest innovation spaces in Canada. The idea behind it? To make businesses more competitive.
Industry leaders, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Productivity and Innovation Center.
The Honorary Dr. Glenn Felton was clearly excited to announce the grand opening of NAIT's new PIC building. On Wednesday, business and industry leaders got their first look at the 17,000 square foot faculty.
PIC is focused on industry and had core training related to competitiveness for people who are in industry.
The idea behind PIC is to support businesses in Alberta in a number of innovative ways, including introducing new technologies to businesses, helping business develop and test new products, as well as holding conferences and events.
Well, a number of testing, fee-for-service type work happens in here as well. So we have the 3D metal printer, a lot of other advanced manufacturing technologies. So companies come to us and our collection of capabilities, and they basically use our facilities or they ask us to build something for them.
The PIC building has a number of spaces devoted to oil sands sustainability, advanced manufacturing, and sensors and system integration.
I think that the level of technology that we have here is pretty much a representation of the technology that we have around NAIT. I wouldn't say that it's better or worse. I would just say it's more specialized, directly applicable for our results.
The federal government contributed close to $35 million to help build this center. The building itself is meant for businesses and not for student activities or classes. However, the NAIT community will prosper off the innovation that goes on within these walls. For NAIT NewsWatch, I'm Peter Go.
Thanks, Peter. That was our Peter Go from inside the PIC building.
Edmonton's Downtown Business Association is stepping up its game when it comes to tackling issues facing downtown. Residents, businesses, employees, and employers alike were invited to Downtown Security Forum to discuss dilemmas that downtown Edmonton faces every day, such as panhandling, harassment, vandalism. Although most of these problems are not overnight fixes, Ian O'Donnell, the Downtown Business Association Executive Director, hopes the conversation will lead to action.
Today really came about just because I started to hear some really great things and some not so great things about what's happening. And so I thought, well, why don't we get 50 or 100 people in a room and just sort of lock the door for a couple hours, shake it around a bit, and just see what comes out.
Any Edmontonians with feedback for Downtown Business Association, either positive or constructive, is encouraged to email info@edmontondowntown.com.
A special proclamation this week at City Hall recognizes our Métis community.
Therefore, I, Mayor Don Iveson, do hereby proclaim November 12th to 17th, 2018, Métis Week in Edmonton, Alberta's capital city.
Each year on November 16th, Métis people across Canada pay tribute to the Right Honourable Louis Riel by holding a commemorative ceremony on the date of his execution. In addition to recognizing Louis Riel, the Métis Nation of Alberta and the City of Edmonton has declared the week surrounding November 16th as Métis Week.
Métis Week is very, very important to us. Not only does it get us an opportunity to talk to all Canadians, all Edmontonians, all Albertans about who we are as Métis and why we do some of the things we do.
The ceremony included traditional dancing and singing. As well, the Métis flag will fly in Churchill Square once construction finishes.
The Salvation Army celebrates its 125th year of service in Edmonton with the launch of its annual Christmas Kettle campaign. The Christmas Kettle campaign is an annual campaign where the Salvation Army puts out red kettles to raise money for those in need. Throughout the holiday season, this campaign launches General Rick Hiller spoke about what it means to be a leader in our country. He honored the many men and women who serve our country to maintain the values Canada has held since the First World War.
All stories of service to Canada in some way, some shape, some form, and they're also all stories of leadership. You know, our credo was we were all leaders, and all those men and women there today, they're all leaders in our community.
To find out how to get involved with this year's Christmas Kettle campaign, visit salvationarmy.ca.
Edmonton's Food Bank kicked off the holiday season with its annual festive campaign. Each year, the food bank sets goals for money raised and food donated. This year, they're aiming to raise $1.8 million and 350,000 kilograms of non-perishable food items. They do not receive any government funding. They rely heavily on the generosity of the public.
There are lots of different ways that people can donate to the food bank over the festive season. We have many special events where people can come out, get into the holiday season, and make a non-perishable donation or a monetary donation at many of those events. Also really easy is when you're at the grocery store. All major grocery stores have public donation boxes, usually by the tills, and if people are able to purchase an extra jar of peanut butter, extra can of soup, and make a donation there, that's also a really easy way to go about it.
If you wish to donate to the food bank, you can do so at a local grocery store, Candy Cane Lane, or any fire and police station in the city.
Back this year and ready to bring some Christmas cheer, the 65-foot tree returns to downtown Edmonton. After being gone last year because of LRT construction, the city has brought back the giant Christmas tree to Sir Winston Churchill Square. It was cut down and moved from Miller Western Forest and Whitecourt and brought to Edmonton early Thursday morning.
We heard from a lot of Edmontonians, a lot of disappointed Edmontonians, and I'm a big fan of the holiday season and Christmas, and so I wanted to make sure that we had a tree this year.
Epcor will decorate the tree with about 14,000 lights before the official lighting of the tree, which is set to take place tonight.
Coming up after the break, we take a look at NAIT's new peer support program.
And how students are
There's
helping each
not
other
a
to
place
manage
where
the
students
stress
can
from
talk
this
to
time of
other
year.
students, can talk to peers, that they know exactly what they're going through.
The NAIT have been on quite a roll recently as they're currently sitting second in the ACAC, but how did they finish last weekend against the University of Augustana Vikings? Well, all that and more coming right up in sports.
So, the UK has just instituted the toughest ban on ivory trade Europe has ever seen. This exciting button push.
It's 1:59. My ears are bleeding. Underwear required over 40 stitches to her face. Good afternoon, it's 2 o'clock. I'm Jenna Winterburn with your NR92 News Update. You're listening to NR92.
I was very disappointed when it started snowing yesterday. It just became so cold so fast. It was horrible.
I know it's awful, but unfortunately we're at that time of year we just have to embrace it. Mike, what's the rest of the week look like for us?
Sorry to tell you, but it doesn't look like the weather will be improving anytime soon. Down in Calgary, they're starting off with a morning low of -12, but over the course of the day, it'll come up to an afternoon high of 0, which isn't bad at all. It'll be mainly sunny throughout the day, but now over in Jasper, we got -4 for the high, which it's not bad, but it leaves stuff to be desired. -16 for the low, and now for those skiers, we got a precipitation chance of 30%. So maybe you'll be getting some snow for when Marmot Basin opens this weekend. Up in Fort Mac, the morning low, -15. It's pretty cold, but the afternoon high, this is where it gets bad. It only goes up to -10, but that's normal for the northernmost portions of the province. They usually get hit with the cold the most. Over the course of the day, it'll be mostly cloudy. Now here in Edmonton, our morning low, -13, nothing we haven't handled before, and the afternoon high is only -3, partly cloudy throughout the day. It's not great, but we've had better. It's pretty close to the record low throughout the season though, and the record high, the average low throughout the season. And the average high, it's only ever been around -1 this time of year. The record high though was set in 2009 where we had 17 degrees, and the record low, -38 back in 1896. I like this winter weather, but I couldn't handle that. That's all I got for you. Back to you in the studio.
NewsWatch Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
The Ook sports teams aren't the only teams at NAIT bringing home wins.
Students in the J.R. Shaw program just won their first place at the entrepreneurship case competition in Alberta.
We all had very different backgrounds, so we all really were able to play to our strengths.
9 teams from post-secondary schools around Alberta competed at Concordia to showcase their business and management skills. Each team was given a case and they had to create a business model around it and present it to judges.
But we got through it.
We're just like, you know what? We're just gonna go there and do it. At this point, like, we don't know. Just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, stress was really high, but even for myself, I tend to do well under pressure, so I was able to take that stress and actually still perform during the presentation part.
Out of the 9 teams that competed, NAIT won first place, MacEwan University won second, and the University of Alberta won third. NAITSA has been hard at work for the past 2 years developing its new peer support program.
Similar to student counseling, peer support is a place for students to de-stress. However, it has one very distinct feature. Jasmine King has more.
This is the first year the peer support group is at NAIT, and it is done by NAITSA, and it is like a service not offered here before.
There's not a place where students can talk to other students, can talk to peers that they know exactly what they're going through, and to feel comfortable talking to someone that is like a friend.
The past vice president of student services at NAITSA first brought forward the idea for the peer support group.
She was inspired after events that happened a couple years ago, and just realizing how many students don't have people to talk to. Her inspiration and her passion for the project rubbed off on me, and I thought that we have to open it up.
As peer support is different from the counseling here at NAIT, you don't require an appointment.
So it's just walk in, you come in with something that you want to talk about, and the peer supporter is trained in an active listening model to support the student.
This is one of the rooms where the peer support will take place. As the program does not start until the 26th, it is currently empty.
A soft launch phase in the winter term, because we are launching this year, it's just like 3 weeks before the end of term. Our full launch will be January. So we're just going to see what the first year is like.
The peer support group doesn't run all day in order to fit to student supporters' schedules. The group is available to any and all students. For NAIT NewsWatch, I'm Jasmine King.
With the dicey weather outside, outdoor sports are coming to a close, and some have already moved inside.
There's still playoff football going on outside, but basketball was going down at NAIT last week. Connor, what can you tell us?
Thanks, girls. Well, I can tell you that after a 19-point blowout, the Utes took on the U of A Augustana Vikings in what turned out to be a close battle from the three-point line. And that started early as Ryan Delwell would help the Utes set fire to the three-point line. But overall, the Utes played sloppy basketball in the first half, so they were down, 6 seconds left, and guard Tyler Dobich hit that buzzer-beating floater to gain momentum into the half. And the Utes, well, they got their swagger back in a long-range battle that saw both teams trading deep threes. Nothing was deeper than Vikings guard Nathan Bowie's three-quarter court buzzer-beating shot. That banked in all the way from Camrose, and feeding off this, he hit back-to-back step-back threes that put the game in the Vikings' hands. No, you actually aren't watching the same shot twice, but Delwell says, anything you can do, I can do better. He'd finish 5 for 7 from three-point range with a season-high 33 points. Bowie would keep the Vikings alive with his fourth three-pointer, but Delwell iced the game off fittingly with yet another three. And then to add salt to the wound, he showed off some of his playmaking skills when he found Dobich in the corner to give the Utes a 90-84 win. Although Bowie led his team in points, rebounds, and assists, it was Ryan Delwell taking home player of the game. Tonight, the Utes will face off in Concordia against the Thunder. And one man that helped the Utes tie for second place in their division is Samson Clear, who's in his 5th and final year as a Nuke.
Man, it's been great. I mean, I've enjoyed it every year. My first year I was destined to win a championship with Mike Conley.
A championship is something Clear wants to be heading toward once again before his Ute career is over. The 6'7" big man hails from the Bahamas and is having a career year as he's averaged a double-double with 17 points and 11 rebounds per game. 5 years ago, Clear was just entering the ACAC as a rookie, but now he has a new way of staying motivated.
my family, you know. I just had a newborn, you know, he's 11 months now, my wife, and my parents and my family back home, and support here, you know, just everyday grinding, you know. I'm the young, but the old vet, you know, right now, so I'm just trying to stay motivated, staying positive, and keeping and level-headed.
Staying positive helps Clear balance a lifestyle of playing ball, raising a family, going to school, and working all at once. Dukes expect Clear to remain a big presence down low for them before he moves on in his basketball career. And after a win against the Salisbury Sabres, the Harry Ainley Titans have brought their undefeated streak into provincial semifinals.
Go! Black 80s, right?
The Titans have looked nearly unbeatable all year. Earlier on, they actually won back-to-back games by, get this, the same score of 77-0. Tonight, they'll play the Lindsay Thurber Raiders in what might be a tough game, but there is a feeling that they're peaking at the right time.
Yeah, you know what? These guys, the bigger the stage, they just seem to thrive on that competitive opportunity. So, you know, down the stretch here where it's all or nothing, our guys have really been engaged and, you know, just compete every day, really look to get better and give themselves the best chance game day.
If the #1 ranked Titans can pull off yet another win, they'll move to the provincial semifinals next week against the winner of the other semifinal between the Notre Dame Pride and the St. Francis Browns. The Edmonton Collegiate Baseball program is bringing college ball back to our city.
I love the game. I love playing baseball. Just in a way for me to get in academics and play at the same time.
Student athletes who are taking post-secondary courses in Edmonton now have a place to play. After a similar program dissolved a couple years ago, they've brought on a new coaching staff, a new roster, and what they believe is a better plan that will help boost Edmonton's baseball community.
For me personally, it's about getting baseball in Edmonton to a place where people want to come here and have a really good opportunity to succeed. I think that baseball in Edmonton is a hotbed.
For now, the team is stuck inside, which the team actually believe helps them break down the fundamentals of the game before the season begins this spring. And a former NAIT grad came to visit our program last week.
So got my start here. I think I was graduating of 99, or I think it was 1999. The version.
If you're an NHL fan, this voice might sound familiar. Brian Mudryk is the newest play-by-play voice of the Montreal Canadiens. When he was at NAIT, he actually came to class while battling and ultimately defeating cancer. While many dream of being where he's at now, he hopes he can go even further.
If I've learned one thing, always keep trying to take it further, because you don't want to stand still. You don't want to get complacent. There's always going to be 35, 40 men and women trying to take my job, right? So.
While Mudryk has called everything from curling to equestrian for this year, he'll continue to be the voice of the Montreal Canadiens.
Always keep trying to take it further, because.
And with that, here's your update from the pros.
Time for your sports in 45.
The Warriors dynasty had a worrisome week after Kevin Durant and Draymond Green had a spat on the sidelines. And after the game, Draymond reportedly told KD that, "We don't need you, we won without you, leave." That's harsh words coming from his own teammate, and after getting beat up by a Rockets team that's going to be losing Carmelo Anthony after GM Daryl Morey said that they're looking to part ways, the Warriors look as vulnerable as ever in their dynasty era. The Rockets are below 500 with Melo on the team. And as the CFL winds down, a high hit on Saskatchewan Roughriders quarterback Brandon Bridge is causing the CFL to put an extra official on the field to have some more eyes protecting the quarterbacks this weekend, where the Ticats take on the Red Blacks and the Stamps take on the Bombers. I think the Stamps and the Ticats are coming to Edmonton after two really high-scoring games.
That's been your sports in 45.
So Connor, big news in the sports world. Can you shed some light on us?
Yeah, we actually just heard, I just got the update on my phone, that the Edmonton Oilers have made a trade with the New York Rangers. They've traded Ryan Strome for Ryan Spooner.
It'll be interesting to see how this trade affects the Oilers for the remainder of their season.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say what Ryan Spooner can bring to the Oilers, but I will say that Spooner and Strome were both struggling, so it'll be interesting to see what the change of scenery does for both of them.
Great, thanks Connor.
Coming after the break, we look into Salvation Army's festive campaign.
And how it's aiming to help the less fortunate this holiday season.
I think the greatest value is that we see individuals. And as we come across individuals, there's help that we offer.
There's so much happening in entertainment this week. I'll have all that and more after the break.
Movies you can hear.
Movies you can feel.
Movies you'll never see.
When I look at you, I'm not just picturing you with your clothes off.
He's not in the vacuum cleaner either.
Head over to nr92.com, click the audio tab, and let your imagination run wild. NR92, the station for the students.
NewsWatch jackets provided by Elite Promotional Marketing and Timberland Supply.
For people in need, it can be tough to find someone to help.
But the Salvation Army has dedicated over 100 years to helping those who have nowhere to go.
Of course, recognize the need in communities.
365 days a year, the Salvation Army opens its doors to help anyone in need. They offer a number of unique services ranging from addiction counseling to providing a warm meal or place to sleep. They welcome people from all religions and backgrounds to join them until they can land on their feet again.
And really try to treat them with some dignity, because lots of times homeless people or people who are, having a difficult time, they're invisible.
This time of year is particularly pressing on those in need. The community is able to help by donating non-perishable food items, gloves, hats, as well as cash donations. The holiday season is just around the corner, isn't it, Abby?
Yeah, it is true, but I don't think we should get ahead of ourselves just yet. Tyler, what happened in entertainment this week?
Thanks, and you're right, the holiday festivities will be kicking off around the city very soon, and Christmas trees will be appearing everywhere. However, the TELUS World of Science has temporarily traded in their Christmas tree for a giant volcano. This past Saturday, visitors at the TELUS World of Science took part in building a 16-foot tall volcano. The volcano was constructed out of bamboo skewers and styrofoam balls in the shape of the Sierpinski Pyramid. Being such a large structure, a lot of materials had to go into creating it.
Yes, it was, 1,536 bamboo skewers, give or take. And that was 256 tetrahedrons. So you could multiply that by 4 for the styrofoam balls as well.
Although the build didn't go as planned and the top of the volcano broke, the guests did get to see the volcano erupt. For more events happening at the Science Centre, go to telusworldofscienceedmonton.ca. The Sea Tribe Festival kicked off on Wednesday with the Sea Illuminate, the first of 2 fashion shows being held during this futuristic event. Sea Tribe aims to educate guests on what the future will look like. The venue will be transformed into a series of tech-inspired presentations highlighting the possibilities the tech that is defining the 21st century has to offer. Wednesday's event focused on the future of fashion and what new up-and-coming designers are bringing to the runway.
So we're going to take you down a different, into a different universe for one night. And so the hair, the makeup, the looks, everything is completely different than what we've seen here in the runways in Edmonton.
The second fashion show, Sea Garden, takes place on the closing night and will be a contrast from the first show. The space will be refilled with 2,000 plants and the models will have nature tied into their makeup and hair. And now it's time to take a look at what's trending in entertainment. It has been a sad week in superhero history. Superhero and comic fans all around the world mourn the loss of legendary writer, editor, and publisher of Marvel Comics, Stan Lee. Lee passed early Monday morning in Los Angeles, living 95 years almost as incredible as the characters he created. Moving on to what was trending on the internet this week, YouTuber PewDiePie is in a race against an up-and-coming YouTube channel, T-Series, for becoming the most subscribed channel on YouTube. Just this week, PewDiePie's channel broke YouTube history for becoming the first channel to ever pass 70 million subs. However, the race continues as both channels battle it out. There is even a live subscriber tally you can watch for an up-to-the-second count. In other strange entertainment news, fans pointed out earlier this week that a doll modeled after a British actor had little resemblance to him. A $1,400 doll meant to look like Idris Elba has fans confused. The doll was created by a British manufacturer, Empress. However, rather than resembling the Golden Globe winner, people have suggested it looks more like Jafar from Aladdin. If that wasn't strange enough, this week a video went viral of a Texas woman celebrating her divorce with a bang. The woman marked the end of her 14-year marriage by blowing up her wedding dress in front of her friends and family. Reports say that the explosion was felt from miles away. That has been your look at what was trending this week in entertainment. Back to you.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch, the next generation of...
Thanks, Tyler. This has been your look at this week's NAIT NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.